Hey everyone, it's Crystal with Pure Photoshop Actions, and today I'm going to show you a couple of videos showing our new action set, Just a Pinch, and how to use a couple of the actions in there. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a pinch of makeup touch-up and a pinch of soft light, two of my favorite actions from this set. And I'll probably also use a pinch of a tone, and then I'll probably run, just for fun at the end of it, a pinch. Oh my gosh, I'm spacing the black and white. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, is she not like gorgeous? I mean, gosh. Okay, so let's come in and we're gonna zoom in, and we're gonna run a pinch of makeup touch up. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna be black, and it's gonna pop up this little message on how to use it and what to do. For elements, you're going to need to make sure you hit continue. Do not hit stop, or else it will basically erase the action and you won't see the action. You won't be able to brush on. So you have to hit continue. Photoshop, it doesn't matter if you hit continue or elements, but elements, make sure you hit continue. Okay, so now what you have here is your black mask. And as in previous videos, we've said black conceals, white reveals. And so what we've done is we've basically have concealed exactly what this action is doing. And so we come in here and we get a brush and we make sure that it's white. So you can toggle it with this little like arrow thing here. Or you can hit the X button on your keyboard and it'll toggle it for you. If for some reason, let's say this color is like gray, you can hit the D button and it'll switch it back to the default of white and black. And so again, make sure that those are opposites. So if that was a white mask, make sure that's a black brush, vice versa. Again, make sure it's soft. You want to make sure your hardness is at 0. Okay, so let's get started. And make sure it's on normal. I'm going to move it up to 100% opacity just because I want to see what it's doing on her face. So if you use the bracket keys next to the letter P, it'll make your brush bigger and smaller. The bracket key next to the P makes your brush smaller. The bracket key on farthest away from the letter P makes it bigger. For the cheeks, we want to make sure that the brush is about the size of the cheeks. So probably like right around here, and we'll just go like this. So we'll come in here and we'll see how strong that is. It's a little strong, so I'll just Control Alt Z it, and I'll come over here and move it down to about 60%. And then again, just brush it on, and you'll see that little white area right there. Okay, so that's good. And we may decrease the opacity once we're all done. So let's zoom into her lips. So again, make your brush smaller, make it the size of the lips, and you're gonna like just kind of brush. And then make this smaller right here, and then make it bigger, smaller, and bigger. And again, like I said, we're gonna decrease the opacity because some of this is really strong. But at least it's good to see where it's going on. Okay, so now for her eyes. Let's come over here. Let's do her little eyebrows for a second. Just kind of brush that on. That one's a little strong. I don't think that one needs... Well, let's go... I just kind of go like this. There we go. Okay. Now her eyes. Make sure that you're going to need a smaller brush than this. And just kind of go like that. Oh, I went off of the eye. And like that. Again, she really doesn't need a lot of makeup touch-up because her makeup wasn't that bad at all. But this was a good solid face to show this action on. Okay, so I think that is good. So there's your before and there's your after. It's a little strong. Let's zoom out so you can see. Before and after. So we want it more natural. We don't want it to look like a clown or anything. So we'll drop that down to probably about 40%. And let's see what that looks like. So that's before, and that's... Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I've got allergies and... Oh, okay. So that was before and after. So that just kind of adds like a little oomph to her face. So I think that is good. So let's Shift Control E to merge the layers, or you could right click and hit flatten, whatever works best for you. Okay, so now we're going to come and we're going to run a pinch of soft light. So it's going to run, and you're going to have 3 layers. You're going to have a pinch of soft bright light, hard bright light, and dark soft light. So let's go ahead and use the dark soft light. So again, we're going to make sure our brush is set to hardness 0, and make it bigger, and white brush, black mask. And let's go ahead and bump it up to about 70%. It's going to be a little strong, and I will probably almost guarantee you that I'm going to come in here and adjust the opacity to this. But let's just see what happens. So you just brush it on the background or wherever you want it to be dark. This is a darkening, and it also softens at the same time. So you don't want to brush it on faces. You don't want to brush it anywhere where you don't want to lose sharpness, because it will soften the picture. Okay, so that's good. And then let's come up to soft bright light, and you can see the sun is coming from over here. You can kind of see it up here. And so I just want to like kind of create the light. You know, don't create it coming from over here, because there's no light over on this side of her face. It's all over here. So I just did that, and that just kind of creates the illusion that the light is coming down. I don't think I'm going to need to use the hard bright light. The hard bright light has no softening to it. It'll just brighten whatever you brush it over. So let's brush it on her dress right here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. It'll just brighten, but it's not going to soften at all. So like, let's say if her face was dark over here, you can get rid of that. But I like the shadow, so I don't want to do that. Again, if the face was a little dark, you could use that action, that part of the action. Okay, so let's come down here and lower that just a little bit, because that was a little dark. Okay, so now in elements you can't group, but I like to group just to see. Most of our actions for Photoshop users come already grouped. I like to group just to see what the entire action did. So I will pick this one, hold down the Shift key, and then just select that, and it selects everything in between, and then Control G to group it. And then you can see that was the before, and that was the after. Okay, so let's flatten that. And then I'm going to come over to a pinch of a tone, and run that. This action has multiple, what's the word I'm looking for, options for you. You can leave it with every layer on, and at the default opacity. I love what it did. Like, it just warms it up. There's the before, and there's the after. Personal taste, but I love that. You can come in here, however, you have all these different tones. And so let's say you have a picture where you just kind of want it to warm it up a little bit, and maybe add a little bit of the vintage. So you can come and unselect these, and then that's what you get right there. You get from that to that. It kind of warms it up. Let's say you want to make it a little bit brighter, so you just run that. And again, you can adjust the opacity of all these layers. So you can come in here and lower that opacity to like 14% if it's too bright, whatever your option, whatever you want. And then you can come in here and lower that opacity. Okay, and then this is like a little grain feature if you want some grain on that. Let's try this one. This kind of adds a little bit of a little pop. You can see it at 100%. And again, see, this is the glory of this, is you could, if you like that, you know, you could easily say, oh, that's my style. I like the kind of hazy red look. And you could bump that layer up. I want it back down a little bit more. And so let's look at the before. So there's the before, and there's the after. Now, since I've turned off some of these eyeballs down here, some of these layers, when I merge it, it's going to leave those there because they weren't active layers. And so you just select them, and you can just drag them down to your trash. Okay, so now I love that. But let's just say we have a pinch of aloe vera. Let's just say you really want that green. Like right now it's got some yellows and some reds, and you know, it's warm. Let's just say you really want it green. Or let's say she's like really sunburned or orange. You can run a pinch of aloe vera and it'll take that out. It'll come with this message. Again, Elements users, make sure you hit continue. Okay, so now what it did is we have the action. We have a white mask. So let's say I really like what it did if I put it at like 60%, what it did to the background. There's the before, there's the after. It kind of takes the haze out and kind of makes it greener. But I don't like what it did to her. So again, just a simple black mask. Make it bigger, 100%. And we'll just brush her back in. And it would be faster to brush her back in than to say invert that mask and brush it onto the background, just because there's less of her and there's more of the background. So again, it's just whatever saves you the most time. So there's before and there's after. So I like that. So let's just Control-Alt-E that. And one more action, a pinch of color. It's going to be really strong. You're going to need to brush it off of the face. Please don't leave it on the face. So again, come down here and lower. When the action runs, I look at where I want the action, and then I'll adjust the opacity based off of that. I won't even pay attention to her because I know I'm going to brush it off of her. So I'm going to look at the background and adjust the opacity according to what I want. So there's where it was before the action, and here's where it is, probably about 50%. I think it's perfect. So again, black brush, brush it off of her, and you'll see where I'm brushing. Like once it's on there, you'll see the black mask, which is where I brushed. Okay, so that's that. So now, and maybe I want it on her, I decide I want it on her dress. Okay, so I make my brush white, and I can brush back over where I just brushed it off of. And just make her dress pop, and maybe her hair a little bit, because I kind of took it out of her hair. And that's good. So okay, so we'll merge that, and let's just warm her up just a tad. I mean, again, it's a personal preference on how warm you like your pictures, but let's lower it to there. And perfect. So merge that. The only other thing I would do is come in and run Soft and Sparkly Baby on her. Let's look. It's running. And Soft and Sparkly Baby is from our first set. So let's zoom in to her lovely face. And we make sure you select the actual box. Don't just select the layer, because if you take the layer and you start brushing on, it's not actually going to affect and not going to pop the eyes. So make sure you physically select that box, because if you just select the layer, you'll notice that there's a little box around her picture. But if you select that layer mask, it puts that box around the layer mask, and so that's how you know that that layer mask is active. So white brush for the black mask, and we'll just brush that eye pop on, and then we'll come into her skin. And again, like with the skin softening, I'm not going to leave it at this 100%. I will lower it, but make sure you don't like go over any creases, because it's just going to make her look plastic, and you don't want that. And I won't touch the moles, just because I'll just kind of go around the moles, because I don't want the moles to be soft, because moles aren't soft. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not like all like blurry and soft. So you know, you don't want her to look fake. Again, I won't touch that line right there, and I won't touch in there, and I won't touch the line underneath her eye there. I'll just go right around it, and then come like this. And again, it's going to take a lot of the texture out of her face, so I'm going to lower the opacity. Okay, so this was at 100%. So before, after, and I'll just lower that, probably about 50%. So here was the after, there's the before. Pay attention to her eyes and her face, and the after. Okay, so we'll merge those. And then also in the just a pinch set is a pinch of brighter eyes. So let's say we wanted her eyes to be a little bit brighter. Her eyes are fine, but you can, like some people's eyes, you know, like they just get darker. There's not enough light coming into them. The sun was going down, whatever the reasoning is. So this has 2 layers in it. And so again, like, these masks are not selected and they're black, so you're going to want to make sure you have a white brush. So let's come over here and select a brighter eye. And again, a white brush. And at 100% it's fine, because I'll probably lower it. And then just brush it onto her eye. So you have that, which just kind of popped her eye a little bit. And then the eye pop, like, I'll lower my brush size and make sure it's white, and I'll come around the edge of her eye right there, and a little black in the center. And then you can also kind of like go right around the edge there. Okay, so I'll group these just to look at the before and after. So that's before and that's after. So then you can lower the opacity however you want, whatever you feel is best. Okay, so here's the picture after we've done all of our edits. The other action that I may run, and this is because this is like a personal thing again, I would run Cloud9 from set 2, and this is my personal favorite action. Again, I already know the image is warm enough, so I'm going to know that I'm going to delete the warming layer on this action. So I'll go ahead and just get rid of that off the top. Cuddly Soft, again, white brush. I'm going to select a big brush, and I'm just going to brush that sucker on. And all it does is it just softens the background just a tad. It's not too strong. Some pictures it may be a little strong, then you just lower the opacity. But all it really does is it just softens it a little bit. And then I'll bring my brush down to like 30%, and I'll make sure I go over just a tad over her hair, just like this, so it all kind of blends together. So it just kind of softens everything. Okay, so this is, and then we can look at that, but it's not really my style. It's not really my taste for this picture. I like the crisper colors, so I'll just go ahead and trash that layer right there. So you'll notice that it just kind of softened, and you can lower the opacity of that too, because you can pay attention to the top of her head here in the background. It just kind of softens it. I love it. Okay, so now I'll come over here and I'll take a snapshot. I take snapshots because there were so many times in the past where I would edit and I would edit and I edit, and then I'd realize, oh, I was at a happy place like 25 steps ago, and I'm not at a happy place now, and now I have to start over, because Photoshop will only let you backtrack your steps so many times. So if you come over to your history and you click this little camera, it'll take a snapshot. So here's our snapshot, and here was our before image, and here's our after image. And it's warm, it's soft, and she just is gorgeous. And pay attention to her face, like the little makeup touch-ups. It's just gorgeous. So that's that.